Hey everyone, Mia here from Resonance.astrology, and welcome to this week's astrological weekly overview where we're going to look at what is going on in the cosmos from April 6th till April 12th of 2026. And we are coming off of a moment of excess, of emotional and energetic expansion, and we're slowly moving towards something much more decisive and much more embodied this week. But there is gonna be a bit of friction first. I mean, this whole month of April is really a month of friction and how we can deal with that. What are our coping mechanisms with that? So, we're refining a lot of things and we're course correcting a lot of things. And we have. So the beginning of the week, it starts off with Sun in Aries squaring Jupiter in Cancer, and that's really that like access part, which it's basically still, we're kind of really coming off from this weekend, okay? Because this is happening just past midnight here in Central European time, so it's definitely very much relevant for the weekend, and now we're like closing off this energy. And this can Sun Jupiter together, especially both in an exalted position, because the Sun is exalted in Aries and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. There is a sense here of too muchness, too much emotion, too much confidence, too much movement in a direction that maybe hasn't fully yet been thought through. And I think that's what's important to understand, is that this is not specifically clarity. Again, this is momentum. This is a lot of momentum. And this is something that is, feeling really right in that moment, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is right in the long term. So one of the most important things at the beginning of this week is giving things a bit of space. And we're still in the murky waters of Mercury still being in Pisces, and this is why I am saying all of this. Yes, so if you do feel, an urge to act on something immediately, especially something emotionally driven, just maybe sleep over it. Let it breathe a little. Jupiter and the Sun can aggrandize our ideas. And what seems really good in that moment might, ride the emotional wave with it. If the idea seems really good, sleep over it. How are you feeling about it? Maybe up to 48 hours afterwards. Yes. We also have the Moon in Sagittarius on Monday, which is not helping the energy of access a lot, because even on an emotional level, this is a Jupiter ruled moon. It is it's gonna bring a desire into all of this where we're trying to understand and find meaning, and maybe all of a sudden we're like, oh, there's so much meaning in all of this. This is all happening for a reason. It might be, I'm not saying it's not, right? But again, Mercury is still in Pisces. We're only just exiting the post-shadow period later this week. So things are certainly not fully clear yet. And that's okay. We're still integrating. You're still integrating. I'm still integrating. And at the same time, we do have this very quiet, but actually quite supportive transit of Venus and Taurus sextile in the North Node in Pisces. This is also happening on Monday. And I like this one because it is subtle. It's there, it's not loud, it's not demanding, but it does offer these small moments where something just feels right in a grounded way as well. There's, connections and pleasures and choices that maybe feel nourishing, that feel aligned in not in that overwhelming Jupiter way, but in a much more softer, more embodied Venusian way. So if something feels simple along these lines and supportive this week, do follow that, especially when it comes to people, right? Do follow that, because Venus is involved here. So and maybe this can also be with this Sun Jupiter transit, if you have a person that is grounding you, that is being a grounding force in your life, do also trust that person. Okay, because everything has to be intense. I think it really depends a bit on your chart, and how it's going to activate your chart specifically in what might be felt more or less. If you have any If you have any placements in the cardinal signs, so Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, between like 10 degrees and 20 degrees, this is going to hit you the hardest. Like you're going to probably feel that Sun Jupiter tension the hardest. Yes. And then we move into midweek. We have Mars in Pisces sextiling Uranus in Taurus at 29 degrees. And this is where Uranus will be. Finally, Uranus moves into that 29th degree again, until it later on moves into Gemini in 2 weeks. Like April 25th, 26th is when Uranus moves into Gemini for good. But we're going to deal with Uranus being at that 29th degree. And this is important because whenever a planet reaches the final degrees, there's a sense of pressure, of something needing to culminate, to complete. And with Uranus, that can feel like restlessness, like extreme restlessness, even more restlessness than usually, and agitation, and this underlying sense of something is about to shift and it's not quite there yet. And Mars tapping into that as well, especially from Pisces, can feel a bit like acting on a nervous impulse or reacting without fully knowing why. So here it's really important to give that energy a channel. So, and this is really important for throughout all of Aries season. But if something feels weird and ambiguous and you're just feeling restless and you can't fully make sense of things yet, because again, we still at the beginning of the week, we have both Mercury and Mars still in the sign of Pisces, move your body first. Do something physical first. Let that energy flow through you in a conscious way first. Because if not, it can very easily turn into irritability or impulsive reactions that don't actually lead anywhere useful, and you just get more confused throughout all of this. But if you work with this can also be a moment of very subtle but powerful shifts, especially intuitive ones. This is a sextile after all, so it can be useful. It can be useful. Then, by Thursday, Mercury finally exits its post-shadow phase in Pisces. And I think many of us are just tired. Raise your hand if you're like, I have had enough of Mercury being in Pisces, because I am right here with you. It has been fun in the beginning, but right now I'm like, oof, I'm tired. Because Mercury has been in Pisces for a long time now. There's been confusion, mental fog, and a lot of emotional processing. So even though we're technically moving towards integration now, because we're going to stop being in the post-shadow period, this doesn't mean instant clarity yet again. It just means we're beginning to understand what we've been moving through. But it's not the full story yet. We still have one more week of Mercury and Pisces, guys. We're gonna get through this. So do be gentle with yourself midweek. You don't have to have it figured out yet. And even then, again, it's just, I think this whole year isn't really a year to, if anything, it's more a year to fuck around and find out, if I'm being completely honest, because everything is just gonna be like chaotic. It's like that's not gonna stop really. But I do really welcome the shift from Uranus and Gemini, because I think that's really going to start opening portals. For me, Uranus and Gemini feels very much like asking the right questions. And questions are portals. They open doors. And because Uranus is going to be in sextile to Neptune and Saturn and trining Pluto, all these tension that we have been feeling from the outer planets is start gonna make sense now, because Uranus and Gemini is gonna finally start asking the right questions. So I like this. I like where things are getting, but it's, yeah, we're still gonna have to deal with a bit of the restlessness and tension right now. And then what we also have on Thursday is Mars entering the sign of Aries. Finally, I think this is maybe the most important transit of the week and the actual turning point of this week, because Mars is now returning to a place where it can act clearly, directly, and decisively. And you might feel that. You might probably already be feeling that. And there is a return of energy, a desire to move forward and actually being able to do so. I think right now things have also been a bit frustrating because there's a lot of planets in the sign of Aries, but they're being ruled by a Mars that is in the sign of Pisces. So there's a lot of like, yes, I want to do this, but somehow Mars is like, not yet. And now it's like, we open that cage and the bull runs out. And the bull freaking runs out. And it's not just a knowing of like, I know what to do. It's I am doing it. I'm actually doing it. But, obviously that also comes with a tendency to rush and to act quickly, to move before something is fully grounded. So, it's not just about not acting. It's about acting also with awareness here. So, let the clarity land in the body first and then move if you can. I'm just saying this as a bit of a warning. Certainly Venus in Aries serves as and Jupiter in Cancer. Both of these signs serve as a reminder in the background to come back to body first, to ground yourself first, to feel your body first. But it's going to be hard. Let's be honest. Like, a lot of us are going to act on impulse, and that's just kind of how it's going to be. And embrace the chaoticness. There's a lot of chaos magic, I think, that is also possible in April. and maybe sometimes we need to lean into that a bit. Yes, then on Friday we have the last quarter moon in Capricorn, and this is really the point where things become even a bit more real. This is where we're asked to look at what's actually sustainable. Definitely the last quarter moon in Capricorn serves as a bit of a sobering force. And even though it can be a bit heavy, right? The moon is not in the best position, the sign of Capricorn, but it's helping us in refining things. It's instead of like resisting that feeling, like we're forced to kind of like work with it and ask ourselves, what is actually worth my time and energy here? What am I building that can last, and what needs to be cut? If you haven't already made your decisions during the Libra full moon, might be a time to do so. And certainly Mars in Aries gives you enough of the courage and vigor to actually do it and stand up for yourself. So I like it. Over the weekend, the moon moves into Aquarius, and there's a bit more space and a bit more distance. And we're able to step back a bit, observe, detach slightly from the emotional intensity of this week and maybe also from last week. And that can also be quite helpful, right? Because it allows us to see things more clearly, not just emotionally, but also objectively. And and there aren't really any major transits going on over the weekend, which is completely fine, because what's coming the week ahead is a massive concentration of planets in Aries. Mars is already there by then. Sun is there. Soon Mercury is going to join, and we have Saturn, Neptune, Chiron. And then we also have the new moon happening in the sign of Aries. So next week is a lot. And this week is the adjustment before the ignition. So we are in the threshold of moving from confusion into action, but first we have to refine what's actually worth acting upon. Because sometimes Mars Aries energy can just feel like, I'm gonna sow all the seeds, and I'm gonna put them everywhere, and it's just like super chaotic, and then you just, your garden grows all over the place, and certainly, I'm like, things can grow, like it's gonna grow things, like even if you put the seeds everywhere, like things are gonna grow. If it's actually gonna be more useful if you took your time to like properly do this, probably going to be better. so this is just like this fair warning with Aries energy that I often like to give to people, that again, chaos magic can be useful, but it can also just be a bit too all over the place. And the question is just like, and that's like these like Saturn ruled moons over the weekend, like Capricorn and Aquarius, where they're just like, is that enjoyable for you? Like, do you want that? Like long term, do you want to sit here when Libra season comes around, and it's like September, October, like Virgo Libra season, and because then you're gonna go into the sowing phase, and is that really like, do you want to go into a super chaotic garden that has been planting seeds all over the place? It's fine if you do, but it's also completely fine if you don't. Then you're just gonna refine on what's actually worth acting on. And this is what I'm going to leave you guys with. This is pre-recorded. At the time this is going up, I will be in the United Kingdom. yes, I usually always like to do this right on time because it lets me tap into the energies the most. But of course, your girls gotta get some rest as well and be on holidays. So this is pre-recorded. There is fun videos gonna be upcoming. We're gonna have Mars and Aries horoscopes, and the Neptune video from the Meet the Planet series is also gonna get released this week, which is, I'm sure, is gonna be interesting because what is Mars gonna do? Like every planet that gets into the sign of Aries, well, it's gonna meet Neptune and Saturn. So this is what I have for you guys this week. I hope you're doing well. Let me know down in the comments what is moving for you and what you are refining right now in your life. And we're going to talk to each other very soon. Much love. Bye.